And rolling down the BP Ultimate grid, and what a stunning qualifying effort from Johnny McIntyre to keep Craig Baird out of P1. He's doing everything he can to get back in the championship hunt. Kane Scott and Tim Edgell on row 2.
Yeah, the third row, Andy Booth versus the Commodores. Paul Manuel, usually we see him in a Commodore, but he's not. He's on a Falcon today. Andy Knight, John Penny, the local guy here from Taupo. Great qualifying there in 8th position.
And Clark Proctor fighting with John Penny. Andrew Anderson, new tyres for qualifying. Would have hoped for a better result than that, though. John Whelan and Ant Pedersen, fresh from his Fujitsu success.
Angus Fogg struggling a little bit back there in 13th. Interesting qualifying for him yesterday. He spent a little bit of time off the circuit. And the next row, Simon Richards and Nick Ross.
As we head back down the grid, the biggest grid this season, Hayden McKenzie alongside Matt Lockwood. A lot of Ute success for him in the past. Michael Bristow and Eddie Bell.
Christina Orr in 21st position next to John Hepburn.
And rounding out the grid, Darren Henderson and Dave Stewart. As we head back there, David Hopper and Shannon Coker. This is a great packed grid for the final race of the season. Dale Williams backing up the pack. So there they go as they get ready for the start.
Feeding round now, coming onto the front straight. It's very important to get a jump. Johnny Mack moves right over, squeezing Craig Baird onto the outside of the grid. They get the green. They jump away. Mack moves down to the inside to cover that line. What will Beardo do?
Boys, I think he's going to go right around the outside. If he can stay there,
would you have Kane Scott
he's
who's
going to get the
pushing
run
through
on the inside, but this is where it's going to come unfolded.
Oh,
Eddie Bell
turn
sideways. Angus Fogg in there already.
Look at that. Beardo holds that position, as you said, mate, around the outside. Kane Scott would have been looking for an opportunity, but turn 2 arrives very, very quickly there, and the inside turns to the outside very fast.
Right. Eddie Bell had great start to the season. He's had some bad luck. He was really keen to finish on a high. He's in trouble on turn 1 there alongside Angus Fogg, who had all sorts of dramas in qualifying, getting ready for this race.
Pretty clean there. Andy Knight up the inside of local guy John Penny, who's done a great job in qualifying. These two touching it all the way through turn 8. Very, very close. Some great battles very early on in this race. Looking for that advantage.
Now, we know these two guys in front are quick. We know that by qualifying. We know Kane and those guys are quick for 1 or 2 laps, but do they have an answer to Johnny Mack and Craig Baird? This is where the championship battle is unfolding. Like I said, it's Clark Proctor right down the inside, hitting the dirt, skidding sideways, but missed everything. This is the championship, guys. This is where it all starts right here. The 2 guys in contention out in front.
And further back, the stewards are already busy. That Bell Fogg incident is under investigation. Talk about Johnny Mack as he brakes hard for turn 12. He said the only thing he had to do this morning was polish the car. He is feeling good.
Great way to be, but Beardo putting some pressure on him. There's no doubt. Look at him putting that car in every single position that Johnny Mack is going to see in his mirrors. And you can see Kane Scott pushing very hard. He said, you know, he's had a disastrous year as far as he's concerned, holding the #1 plate, not for much longer though. Hasn't had a race win. That'll be the first time in a very, very long time we see a replay of turn 1. Can't quite see what happened there. Eddie Bell sideways. Angus Fogg obviously got a shocking start too, Mark. He was 12th on the grid, but a long way back.
Was it Fogg who turned Bell though? It looked like there was all sorts of cars involved there.
Look at these 3, the attitude in these cars. This is going to be a fantastic race.
Yeah, these guys are going to battle, and Tim Edgell is going to be in the back of this in a lap or so's time. But look, didn't we see this at Manfield?
Oh, Beardo up the back of Johnny Mack. He's letting them know, all right, that he's there. He's decided that championship is at stake, but he wants to win this race.
And this is the professional he is. All these guys actually. Craig Baird has got such a big lead in the championship. You think he can consolidate it? He is going for the race when he's going for the glory.
Absolutely.
The fact is, he could afford a DNF and still be okay in the last 2 races.
Look at Scotty. Scott is looking racy, very racy in the Fujitsu car. Down the outside.
He's going to make this stick if he can just live there.
Beardo's a bit of, you know, he's not a silly boy. He's been around a little while. He would have seen Scott coming, and there's no way that is going to happen. But nose to tail, absolutely nose to tail. Johnny Mack comes off a weekend at the Clipsal 500 last weekend, driving a V8 supercar in the development series. He was very narrow there, blocking the inside line.
History will show us that Johnny McIntyre's team, they engineer the car to come on from lap 3 or 4 for these short races. And we've seen this before. If he can consolidate that lead he's got at the moment, and the car starts coming into his own,
look at Edgell. Edgell's closed up that gap. These guys are slowing themselves down. Beard would recognise that comment that you just made. He knows that these guys set this car up to be strong at the end. He want to try and get past as early as he possibly can. and it may have set his car up to try and achieve that goal.
Correct. Unfortunately for Craig, is Johnny doing that, Kane's on the back, so he's got to be the aggressor and the defender at the same time. So
he is the meat in this sandwich, there's no doubt about it.
So if they set that car up for the first two laps,
Scott looks down the inside. Very aggressive. That's a great move. Didn't manage to get away with that. But he is now coming under pressure, obviously, from Eddie Bell. So these moves that he's making on Craig Beard are going to get very, very hard to do very quickly, aren't they?
But further back in fifth, the fastest car on the track is Andy Booth, just 1/10 off the lap record. So the Holden is the quickest car on the circuit at the moment.
Which is a great thing to see. We haven't seen a lot of that this season. Looking at the back of Proctor, I think at Andrew Anderson in the ITM Commodore. Got a good run there, actually. Good run off turn 9.
And it does, guys, and that just shows when you've got an impeded track in front of you, like Andy has. See, there's no one in front of him at the moment. Timmy Edgell's probably 5 or 6 car lengths up. He can do all his natural desired lines. The other 3 guys get caught up, hence why their lap times is not as quick as I'd hope.
Yeah, Christine, she has parked that.
Scott pulls out of the slipstream of the United Video Falcon, has a look down the inside. Now, as you can see, mate, as you said before, Mark, the way Johnny Mac's team set that car up, he has now just managed to get a couple of car lengths on Craig Beard, and that could be all she wrote as far as the first place goes in this race.
Guys, look at that. The minute Johnny McIntyre's released, straight away the fastest lap of the race, and probably a new lap record, I think.
36.4. Yeah, he held the previous lap record at a 36.6, so instantaneously withstands the pressure of Craig Beard for a couple of laps, and now look at the break he's got. And if we could see his eyes, I'm sure they would be full of concentration. Battle, the 3 guys, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Johnny Mac has this one under control currently. Craig Beard looking a little bit rough. Kane Scott has got to run now down the inside into turn 1.
Now will Timmy Edgell capitalise on this as well, guys?
Beardo turns in.
He must have known he was there.
He had to know he was there.
Yeah.
Had to. Tim Edgell trying to benefit from this also on the outside, not the place to be for turn 2.
Now what we've got to watch out for, these new rims on these cars are very good design, but sometimes if they had to take a hit like that, they can actually fracture the side of them and can lead to punches. So will this occur a problem for Craig Beard?
Well, that was a bit of a strange scenario there. Yeah, definitely Scott down the inside. Beardo had to know he was there. He's turned in.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, okay. Kane ran a little bit forward, went a little bit deeper into the corner, and Craig probably expected him to turn in a little bit earlier than what he did. So the two coming together, nothing in it. Great move there by Kane Scott. Beardo was a bit slow and a little bit wide coming off the last turn onto the front straight that lap. That allowed Kane Scott to edge himself up the inside, get an overlap, and obviously the perfect line into turn 1.
And for the Holden fans out there, Andy Booth currently in 5th place. We've seen this before, guys. Andy just throws everything at it for the first 2 or 3 laps, and then the Holden just burns its tyres up and he just fades back. But
still doing good times there, no doubt about it. McIntyre fairly comfortable. Last lap time was the fastest out of everybody.
And there is Andy Booth, the best of the Holdens. He's 2 places ahead of his old teammate Paul Manuel. You'll see him there in a Ford this weekend.
There he is.
In 7th though, not
Andy
a bad
Knight,
first up.
Andy Knight separating the 2 ex-teammates. Looks a bit strange having that sponsorship on the side of the Ford, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, especially since the truck's still got a picture of a Commodore on the side of it. It's all very confusing, but he's making good results out of it. To be 7th in his first up drive, still getting used to this car, but he was sure the Ford would be quick.
Correct, and I still maintain this is an outstanding result for the Orange New Balance Falcon, because Paul's a very experienced man, won championships, know how to drive Holden, but this is probably the longest sequence laps he's ever done in a Ford. And of course the characteristics of the cars change over the race. Something unknown to him, so I think to be where he is, first time up in that car and that team, outstanding.
And we saw this car, I think the last time we saw it was at Timaru with Chris Tither behind the wheel, who did a great job in that car also, until obviously the unfortunate circumstances of race 1 and those wet conditions where it ended up in the fence also. But clearly a pretty good vehicle to be in, and Paul decided that it was time to see what the fuss was all about. He's been a Holden man through and through forever, and unfortunately for the Holden fans, he's just decided he needs to check out what one of these things is what the goods is.
He said it might just be a brief dalliance, though. He's
Oh,
not
well.
sure.
I think for all the Holden fans out there, they'll be hoping that is the case. But needless to say, he has managed to get on top of it. Well, not on top of it, but do a very good job of this. There's John Penny, the local man from Taupo, doing a superb job there in the top 8, 8th position at the moment. He's come on strong in the last few rounds, there's no doubt about that.
Championship at Craig Beard, guys, I think he's struggling. Kane Scott got past him, and the very next lap he was a second quicker straight away. Craig is coming under pressure from Timmy Edgell, so maybe it was just the engineering of that car. They brought it on for the first 3 or 4 laps, and it's starting to suffer for him.
That said, though, Mark, a couple of laps to go, he knows he's got the championship all but wrapped up. A DNF is the one thing that could really ruin it for him. I get the feeling he does want to stay out of trouble now too, especially after saying how do you do to Kane Scott.
He's won that many championships, he knows how to win them, and you win them by accumulating more points than anybody else. 3 races to go, Sean, you're exactly right. He will not compromise that. His position is championship leader, but Johnny McIntyre, full credit to him, guys. As I said, he's done everything he like, and he's just disappearing.
Eddie Bell, he was in trouble on turn 1, and he's making himself known still. He's back in 17th, though. Saying g'day there.
Angus Fogg's made up a few spots as we look at the back of the LG Falcon now. He's climbed back up into 14th position. Not quite back to where he started this race, but from where he ended up at the end of, well, the beginning of the first lap, he's done a pretty good job to make a few spots, but he is under some pressure.
It's Matty Lockwood there, the Ute champ. And he started the season, he wanted to make his mark in the NZV8s. It didn't quite go his way at Pukekohe, and he's obviously going to have a good finish, hopefully, because he's...
John Penny is that. A big lock up into 11. That would have done a little bit of damage to that tyre, I'm picking. Very difficult there to go deep and maintain all 4 wheels rotating, but he's got away with it.
He has, he's got such a big lead over Andrew Anderson, the next car, some 5 seconds over him, so he can probably ease, afford to ease off, because Greg, as you'll know, as soon as you flat spot a tyre, every time you hit the brake, it picks it up again and again and again, to the point where he can actually puncture the tyre.
Well, 2 goals for John Penny this weekend as we go into the last lap. He wants to finish top 10 in the championship, and he wants to thrill the home crowd because he's a local lad. But in the last lap, and Johnny McIntyre leads by 2 seconds ahead of Kane Scott. Craig Baird back in 3rd, and I think he's settled there, but he's got Tim Edgell just 3/10 behind, so it's not over yet for Beardo.
No, it's not over. For me, these races are way too short. 10 laps, the racing's fantastic. I really enjoy watching these guys racing, but 10 laps is just way too short. I'm sure at the end of it they get out and they feel like they haven't really done too much. So, it'd be great to see these races go on a little bit longer. Unfortunately, we don't have that at the moment. But,
we'll look forward, though. There is an enduro race coming up Queen's Birthday weekend at Hampton Downs, so we can look forward to seeing them go a distance there. The pit stops will be interesting with the old-fashioned 5-stud hubs, but I know what you mean. That you get kind of one crack, you don't get a chance to go back, regroup, and try again if you haven't succeeded on the overtake. Yeah,
well, there's that, but I think this is the formula that everyone comes to see, and we want to see these cars on the track. So the racing is exciting and enjoyable to watch. And Kane Scott here obviously trying to nudge away at Johnny McIntyre's lead. Last lap round he was 0.5 of a second faster, but he's now run out of time. This is the last lap, only a couple of corners left. Craig Baird holding on to a very spirited Tim Edgell there in the Chester's car, doing a great job, but that's the end of this one.
Johnny Mac takes the checkered flag. He's done all he can to try and whittle away Craig Baird's championship lead. Kane Scott, great effort as he tries to turn around a miserable season. Craig Baird, though, 3rd ahead of Tim Edgell, and Andy Booth 5th. He's topped the charts. He's done all he can to try and whittle away that championship lead. He's taken 15 points. It doesn't sound like much, but every bit counts from Craig Baird. Kane Scott 2nd, great effort from him. Tim Edgell 4th, Andy Booth 5, Andy Knight, and his Paul Manuel, his debut in Ford, netting him a top 10 finish ahead of John Penny, Andrew Anderson, and John Whelan.